Call the Owatonna City Council meeting to order for Tuesday, January 20th. May we have roll call?
Councilmember Okerberg.
Here.
Schultz.
Here.
Burbank.
Here.
Rainey.
Here.
Svenby.
Here.
Dotson.
Here.
Abraham.
Here.
And Mayor Kuntz.
Here.
We have all 7 of the council and the mayor present.
Thank you. Please rise and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you for coming tonight to the council meeting, and we'll start with the next item is we need to do the oath of office for Brent, and with that we'll go to the mayor.
Thank you, Les. Brent, you ran a great campaign and you were successful in being elected for another 4 terms. So it's time to do the oath of office. I get you to raise your right hand and repeat after me. I,
Brent Svenby,
do solemnly swear I will support the Constitution of the United States,
do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Minnesota,
the Constitution of the State of Minnesota,
the laws of the City of Owatonna,
the laws of the State of Owatonna,
and that I will faithfully and impartially discharge the duties
and will faithfully and impartially discharge the duties
of the office of Council Member 5th Ward
of the office of Council Member 5th Ward
of the City of Owatonna,
of the City of Owatonna,
which I have been elected
which I have been elected
to the best of my knowledge and ability, so help me God.
as my knowledge and ability.
Welcome aboard for the next 4 years.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Brent. And now we will move on to approval of the agenda. We have no changes to it, so looking for a motion to approve as presented.
So moved.
Motion by Greg Schultz to approve. Do you have a second?
Second.
Second by Nate Dotson. Any further discussion there? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The agenda has been approved. We will move on to public hearings, and the first one will be 1.4.1, proposed improvement 14,002 Mineral Springs Parkway and Mineral Springs and Cherry Street.
Unless I have to recuse myself as a
Thank you.
property owner.
And with that, we note that Greg Schultz has recused himself. With that, we'll move on to Kyle.
Good evening. This is the improvement hearing for the Mineral Springs Parkway project. The starting point is Mineral Springs Road on the north and connects through to Cherry Street on the south. The estimated cost of the improvement is $754,640. It also includes the installation of a trail from Mineral Springs Road to the existing trail on the north side of the park. And I'm available for any questions.
Thank you. With that, at 7:05, we will open up the public hearing. So if anyone in the audience wishes to speak on this issue, please come to the microphone, and I would ask you to sign in. Seeing none, we'll look for a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
We have a motion by Brent Svenby to close the public hearing. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Dave Burbank. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Now it's council's turn to comment. What is the council's comment or wishes? Seeing none, Chair will entertain a motion.
Motion to approve resolution 11-15.
We have a motion by Brent Svenby to approve, a motion to approve 11-13. Do we have a second to that?
Second.
Second by Nate Dotson. Any further discussion at this point? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? This has been approved. Now we move on to 1.42, proposed assessment 13002 Lamond Road between Kim Avenue and Selby. And we will go back to Kyle.
Good evening. This project is the reconstruction of Lamond Road from Selby Avenue to Kim Lane. It includes an installation of curb and gutter, storm sewer, and then also a trail connection from where the trail ends at Selby through to Kim Avenue. Estimated cost of the improvement is $737,468, and I'm available for any questions.
Thank you, Kyle. And with this, at 7:07, we'll open the public hearing for anyone that wishes to speak on this. Please come forward to the mic and sign in. Seeing none, we'll look for a motion to close the public hearing.
So move.
Motion by Kevin Rainey to close the public hearing. Do we have a second to that?
Second.
Seconded by Brent Svenby. Any further discussion here? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Now it is turn for the council to comment. Questions from the council? Seeing none, looking for a motion.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion by Nate to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Dave Burbank. Any further discussion here? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? This has been approved also. Now we will move down to the council member appointments and boards and commissions. And I have received comments from a couple individuals. Brent, you had contacted me in regard to being on the EDA. You had looked at being on the Highway 14 partnership.
Sure, yeah, I can't wait. With my new job, I can't make the EDA meetings anymore, so.
So what we will do is we'll move you over and put you on the Highway 14 partnership, add another person. We're not limited to who we can have or can't have there. And then we will look for someone, and I think I had talked to you, Jeff, about being on the EDA.
I'd be more than happy.
So we will move you over to the EDA. And the only other one that I would be looking at is an alternate for the joint dispatch.
And I'd be happy to do that.
Okay. Now, is anyone else interested in changing their positions on the different boards or commissions? Seeing none, those will be the changes that we will be looking for, Chris.
Okay. Well, so noted.
Okay. So with that, we will, let's see, we don't need a motion for that, do we?
Probably a motion wouldn't hurt.
Okay, well, we'll look for a motion to approve those changes.
So moved.
Motion by Greg Schultz. Do we have a second?
I second.
Second by Jeff Okerberg. Any further discussion here? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That will approve those changes. Now we will move on to the financial report, and I will ask Greg to read the financial report.
Okay, I'll have a recap of the expenditures presented for approval. Checks over $20,000 include $68,860 to Vizu Sewer for sewer lining, $111,313 to the Southeast Service Cooperative, that is the January health insurance premiums. Other expenditures of $227,397 for a total being presented tonight for approval of $407,570.43.
Thank you, Greg. You've all heard the report. What is your wishes?
Motion to pay the bills.
We have a motion by Kevin Rainey to approve and pay the bills. Do we have a second to that?
Second.
Second by Jeff Okerberg. Any further discussion there? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? This has been approved also. Moving down to the consent agenda items, which are license and permits requests, minutes of meetings, board requests, department reports, etc., all grouped into one motion. And what is the council's wishes with this? Kevin?
I've got one question. I would like to table 2.2.1 Festival of the Arts. There weren't costs included in that, so I'd just like to see the costs on that before we approve. We've got one that's coming up on the 24th of January, but I would ask that we see the city costs involved with the event permits before they come to council in the future.
Okay, but you just asking for...
Motion to table 2.2.1.
2.2.1, okay. Looking for a motion. Motion to approve with that being tabled?
Yes.
Do you have a second to that?
Second.
Second by Jeff Okerberg. Any further discussion there? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? This has been approved with one being tabled to get the final cost for that, or estimated cost. Is that correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay, thank you. Oh. Sorry about that.
It's just water.
Okay. Moving down to action items, 3.1.1, Resolution 815 to accept feasibility report and set date for public hearing. And that we go to Kyle.
Good evening. This is the 2015 street and utility project. The streets that are currently planned are Cherry Street from Larch to Aspen Highland, which would also be between the two legs of Maple Drive. That would be a complete reconstruction. 7th Avenue Northeast from Mineral Springs Parkway to 26th Street Northeast. That's a bituminous reconstruction. It's been overlaid a number of times, so we need to do a full width mill and overlay on that. That's one of the pavements that we feel is worth saving, and that's the right time to do that. We've got an alley between Broadway and Grove east of the post office. This would wrap around the Federated parking lot. A portion of the alley south of Harlan's Tire, north of where we removed the home with some flood money this fall. An alley that we discussed last year from Oakdale Street to 18th Street southwest, west of Cedar. This would be behind the Salvation Army and Snap Fitness down in that strip mall. Kilworth Drive from Brady Boulevard to State Avenue. That's a section of unpaved roadway out in the industrial park. And then lumping, this is a catch-all project, a parking lot that would go on that lot where that home was removed. It was requested by OPU that would be constructing a public parking lot on that lot. There are different levels of assessments detailed in the report. Our estimated project cost is $727,919 with an estimated amount of $200,896 being assessed. If you would like me to give any more detail, I sure can, but otherwise staff would recommend approval.
Thank you, Kyle. Any questions from the council? Greg?
Just a minor note, I think the resolution is right, but your memo, you've been working on Mineral Springs Parkway so long, that should read Mineral Springs Road on the 7th Avenue project.
Correct. I've seen, and I'd just like to add that we are planning a neighborhood meeting on this project for next Tuesday, the 27th, and then the improvement hearing for the next council meeting on February 3rd. A joint notice will go out to the property owners tomorrow for that. So it's a little short turnaround for the neighborhood meeting, but it will meet the 10-day requirement for the improvement hearing. So.
Okay. Very good. Any questions from the council? Chair will entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
We have a motion by Greg Schultz to approve. Do you have a second to that?
Second.
Second by Dave Burbank. Any further discussion there? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? This has been approved. We will now move down to 312, which is Resolution 915 to accept feasibility report and set up date for public hearing for 2015 state aid bituminous pavement rehabilitation projects. And back to Kyle.
This project is, again, some streets where we see a need to do some improvement to prolong their life, and they've been overlaid a number of times. They're out of shape. They need a full width mill, and then call it mill and fill. Lincoln Avenue from School Street to Austin Road. Austin Road from Havana Road to 18th Street Southeast are the sections that would receive assessments. Newer stretches from Main on Lincoln from Main Street to School Street will be included as an overlay, and overlays are not assessed. That is included in this project. And then also Havana Road from Truman to Grove needs some overlaying and has not been overlaid in the past, so that's not being assessed, but it is part of the project. The overall project cost is estimated at $848,249 with a proposed amount of $156,441 being assessed. These are state aid eligible, so we would be using assessments and state aid to pay for this. There is a little bit of storm sewer, sanitary sewer, water adjustments, but we have TV'd all of these routes in the sanitary sewer and haven't found any problems, and have also talked to OPU about the water main condition and haven't had any issues. So with that, I'm available for any questions, but we do, and again, this would be neighborhood meeting on January 27th and the improvement hearing on February 3rd. And
Thank you.
Staff recommends approval.
Thank you, Kyle. Any questions from the council? What is the council's wishes?
Motion to approve.
We have a motion by Nate to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Kevin Rainey. Any further discussion here? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? This has been approved also. Moving down to Resolution 1015, oppose increased truck size of weight on public streets and roads. And this will go to Chris.
Thank you, Les. City was made aware of a current proposal in the legislature to raise the state's weight limit for semi-trucks on public roads from 80,000 pounds to 97,000 pounds. This will have several negative effects on public safety, increased deterioration of our transportation infrastructure, and deteriorate our quality of life. According to our fire chief, Mike Johnson, our largest rescue airbag would lift an 82,000-pound vehicle. So if we had an accident with one of these heavier trucks and it was on top of a passenger vehicle, it would create a problem for our fire department. We'd have to request a heavy equipment to respond to the scene to lift the truck. This would cause a delay in our emergency response to the victims and also cause additional difficulty and congestion at the accident scene. Heavier trucks also negatively impact roads and bridges, and unfortunately, these costs are not absorbed by the trucking industry. According to the Federal Highway Administration, the current 80,000-pound truck pays for only 80% of the damage they cause to roads and bridges that they use. With the increase in the size, the FHA estimates the trucks would then repay only 50% of the damages. This would mean that the taxpayers would be on the hook for the increased difference. So staff is recommending approval of Resolution 10-15.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from the council? I know that you had made some comments about this earlier, Tom, and I think it's pretty much along the lines that you're looking at recommending.
Very much so. We had the prior mayor of St. Paul come down and do a presentation, and our police chief, his family owns a trucking company. Increasing the weight would cause more damage to trucks when they collide, and you've seen a lot of those on the news lately, of trucks hitting cars and everything else. And so the increase is probably not warranted the risk.
Okay, thank you. Other questions from the council? Chair will entertain a motion.
So moved.
Motion by Kevin Rainey to approve. Do we have a second to that?
Second.
Second by Nate Dodson. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? This has been approved. Now we move on to 3.1.4, Resolution 1315, parking restrictions on Lamont Road, and we're back to Kyle.
Good evening. As part of the state aid requirements for Lamont Road, we need to pass a parking restriction on the south side. The north side does allow for parking, so this is a resolution to restrict parking to the north side only between Selby Avenue and Kim Lane. And staff recommends approval.
Thank you. Any questions from the council?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Nate to approve. Do you have a second to that?
Second.
Second by Dave Burbank. Any further discussion there? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? This has been approved also. Moving on to Miscellaneous items, we got 3.3.1 variance, 1371 TMI Hospitality for taller sign at Country Inn and Suites. And this we will go back to Troy on this one.
Country Inn and Suites is requesting a variance, a 10-foot variance from a 50-foot tall sign to a 60-foot tall sign at 130 Allen Avenue. It is in a B2 Highway Business Sign Overlay District, which allows up to a 50-foot high sign and 300 square feet in area. Their current sign is 38 feet tall, and this sign would replace the existing sign. The ordinance does require it to be 400 feet from any residential district. This would be 450 feet from any residential district, and it must be at least 100 feet away from any other business sign over 35 feet, and this would be 179 feet away from any other high sign. It would be about 10.5 feet tall by 18 feet wide for 189 square feet, well under the 300 square foot maximum. And the request for the added height is so that the sign can be seen over the movie theater for northbound traffic on I-35, and then also to be seen from southbound traffic over their existing hotel. So we did have a public hearing, and Planning Commission did recommend approval. We had no opposition, and staff would recommend approval of this variance request as recommended by the Planning Commission.
Thank you, Troy. Any questions from the council?
Motion to approve.
We have a motion by Nate Dodson to approve. Do we have a second to that?
Second.
Second by Brent Svenby. Any further discussion here? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? This has been approved. Congratulations and good luck with that. Now we will move on to 3.3.2, adoption of policy provisions, additions, section for personal time off, and we'll go to Lynn.
Great, thank you. I'm here tonight to ask for your adoption of some policy revisions for 7.2 is paid time off, and 7.3 is paid time off PTO schedule, and 7.4 is vacation. How this came about is we want to add consistency to the paid time off and vacation. Right now, if a part-time employee is on paid time off, there's two schedules that they earn it on, either off of a 20-hour based or 30-hour if they're part-time. And vacation, you earn it on actual hours worked. And so I want to ask the PTO be consistent like the vacation, and they earn it off actual hours worked, rather than having it on two schedules. The other part, 7.3, I would like to remove the schedules that I wish not to use anymore, the 20-hour and the 30. And then vacation, I'd like to modify and correct the language. Right now, part-time, as I mentioned, earn vacation as they work the hours, but it's not stated in the manual. So I just want to be consistent and have all the wording on there so employees understand it clearly.
Very good, thank you. And you did talk to me earlier about
and
the date.
there's at the staff recommendation, I would like to make this effective on 2/1/15.
2/1/15, thank you. Any questions from the council? Chair is looking for a motion.
Make a motion to pass.
We have a motion by Jeff Okerberg to approve. Do we have a second to that?
Second.
Second by Dave Burbank. Any further discussion here? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? This has been approved. Now we will move on to 3.3.3, 2014 labor contract with the IAFF local, and we'll go to Chris.
Thank you, Les. Staff has been in negotiations with the union for several months, and a tentative agreement was reached. I'll summarize the changes for the council. Wages are consistent as we have done with the IUOE and non-union. The increase of on January 1st of 2014 would be 2%. Previously in 2013, we did a 1% with an increase of 0.5% starting July 1st, 2013. Health insurance, the employer contributions will increase by 2%. This translates into single coverage contribution will be increased by $8.54 a month, and the contribution for family will increase by $23.75 per month. They are also wanting to be included in the health care savings plan, so we would add language to the contract that would allow that. Budget impact, wages will be an additional expense of $10,250, and the insurance will be an additional $675. This funding is achieved through appropriation in the budget for contingencies, and staff would recommend approval of this contract.
Thank you, Chris. What is the council's wishes here?
Move to approve.
We have a motion by Greg Schultz to approve. Do we have a second to that?
Second.
Second by Kevin Rainey. Any discussion at this point? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? This has been approved. Moving down to letter of support 3.3.4, letter of support to MnDOT Rail Transit Initiative, and we'll go to Chris with that.
Thank you. On January 6th, the council met with, in a study session with Susie Nakazian, the council member from Northfield, Glenn Malika, Rice County Commissioner, and Andrew Selden, President of the Minnesota Association of Rail Passengers, and we discussed the potential of restoring the intercity regional rail passenger service between South Central Minnesota and the Twin Cities. This is a grassroots group, and they feel very strongly that this alternative should be studied by MnDOT for possible development in the future. They feel it offers many benefits to the region for economic development and interstate rail connections to the south, to Kansas City and Des Moines. They're requesting the council provide a letter of support to MnDOT to study this option. There are monies set aside by MnDOT for rail studies, and if this project is currently classified as a Tier 2, and if it's not moved up to a Tier 1 status, the project will likely not be funded for a study. Now, I've also received some additional information from Susie Nakazian today, and at your stations you have a copy of the Amtrak system and also a list of the other cities and stakeholder groups who have submitted letters of support to MnDOT. What Susie wanted me to point out is that there's another advantage to supporting this, that we could potentially, through this rail, connect with the national and Amtrak system, allowing those riders to enter Minnesota through Owatonna without having to go through Minot or Milwaukee as currently required. And then this potential connection would make Owatonna the southern portal to our state from the nation's passenger rail network. So she felt that was also a very good point to consider when considering this issue. So I just point that out to you and leave it to your discussion.
Thank you. Comments from the council. Kevin?
Yes. Need my cheaters here.
Oh, okay.
In regards to Amtrak, I was on the internet this afternoon. $1.4 billion annually is paid in federal subsidy to keep that going. And according to the Cato Institute, Amtrak has virtually no impact on reducing traffic, congestion, pollution, or energy use. The average taxpayer subsidy per Amtrak rider is $100. Subsidy per passenger for Chicago to Denver is $650. The Minneapolis Star-Tribune reports that the North Star line is subsidized among the highest in the nation. 83% of the commuter line cost is subsidized. There was another article from the Mound City Councilman Dave Osmek talking about the Hiawatha line, Central Corridor, and the subsidies there. The rail lines through the metro area is subsidized at $58 million each year just to operate the lines. There was a MnDOT study done, and it proves that roads have a benefit to cost ratio of greater than 1, meaning that the economic benefit of a project outweighs the actual cost of improvement and will pay for itself over time. Road and bridge projects have ratios of a 3 to 4, meaning for every $3 to $4 of calculated value, it's returned for every dollar spent. The Hiawatha line was projected at .42, meaning for every dollar spent, we get 42 cents in value back. I realize this is only a study. It's not actually putting it in place, but I can't support this going forward.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to speak?
Kevin cited most of my concerns as well. Last number I knew was $800 million was Amtrak subsidy, so it's gone up significantly from that. All of these rail projects have proven to be, they do not deliver on the projected ridership. They do not, they are not supported by their riders. I do not want our signing on to even moving it up on the list of priorities to be construed as support for the project, because I have no faith that that project will be self-sufficient. The word profitable was thrown about at one point, which is, I would bet any amount of money that's an impossibility. It would never turn a profit. It will always require subsidy. And if they've dedicated money to study this, let them do it somewhere else, so when they are losing money and they got to beg somebody to pay for the costs in the future, we don't have to be the ones involved in or be seen as supporting it right from the get-go.
Tom?
Yeah, the only comments I'll make, is that there is 32 million passengers that traveled on Amtrak in 2014. So that does give us access to that. It would also give us access to bringing Amtrak up through the Owatonna corridor, which isn't going to happen unless we sign on. And if you look at the list of the 19 cities that are already signed on, all those are in southern Minnesota along that railroad. I don't think that saying that we're signing that letter is going to say that we're in support of subsidies. It's not saying that we're in support of that process. It's just in support of taking a look to see if rail service in southern Minnesota is worth the time and effort to do that. You're also saying that MnDOT is taking dollars away from roads and construction. That's not the case, because these dollars have already been dedicated to the rail study and the rail program. So no matter what we say yes or no here, isn't going to change where those dollars go. I think that we won't see anything change in the next 5 to 10 years, but I also think that we should take a long-term look at this and say what's beneficial for the state of Minnesota in 20 and 30 and 40 years out. And if we don't move this up in the agenda to at least study it, we won't find out what is beneficial. So my suggestion would be to at least sign on to the letter of support.
Thank you, Tom. Anyone else wish to speak?
Plus, I guess I agree with the mayor. I don't see any downside in signing the letter. I'm not saying, I don't know it'll ever get to fruition anyway, but I think we need to show a support of a regional, being part of a region. Our neighbors, they've supported us in the past. And like I say, I don't see a downside to sending this letter. I know it was suggested that we should write a letter to MnDOT and tell them they need to redirect their funds. Well, I don't think that's going to happen. We have no power to do that. So, I guess that's my feelings.
Thank you, Greg. Anyone else wish to speak? Dave?
I'd like to thank Councilman Rainey for doing his homework today on that, taking the time to do it, but I do also agree with the mayor. I think we need to at least put our signature to this paper and hope that it moves up the ladder a little bit in consideration, moves from tier 2 to tier 1. So,
thank you. Anyone else?
Yes, I support the mayor and his thinking, and along with Mr. Schultz and Mr. Burbank, so I'll support the letter of support for this project, for the study at least.
Thank you. Well, I'm also in favor of it. I think we need to look at it to do what we can to promote our area, our neighbors, support them, do whatever we can. So I do agree with Tom, our mayor, on this. So, anyone else wish to speak? Seeing none, Chair will look for a motion to vote.
Motion to approve the letter of support.
We have a motion by Dave Burbank to approve the letter of support. Do we have a second to that?
Second.
Second by Brent Svenby. Any further discussion here? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Nay.
So we got 4 ayes.
3 nays.
And 3 nays. Okay. So this has been approved to present to Susie at the next opportunity.
Will do.
Thank you very much. And with that, we will now move on to public comment. And if anyone in the audience wishes to speak at this point, please step forward and sign in. Seeing none, we'll move on to council comment, and we will start with Jeff.
No comment today.
Greg.
Nothing this evening.
Dave.
Good night for Ward 3. We're finally going to get some work done on Lamond Road.
Great. Thank you. Kevin.
One thing, this Thursday night at the high school, the boys basketball team has got the Coaches versus Cancer Night. There's fundraisers out there. Thanks to Federated Insurance, the Minnesota Gophers are bringing down the Floyd of Rosedale trophy for beating Iowa and the Little Brown Jug for beating Michigan. And so people can come and get their photo taken with those two trophies, and all the money goes to a great cause, beating cancer.
Thank you. Nate.
You guys all probably got the invitation to the grand opening Quick Trip, which is opening Thursday morning.
Yes.
So I would like to welcome them to their new store.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor.
Well, first, I'd like to thank Kyle and his staff. You know, I think with these road construction projects and everything, the initiative you have taken for public meetings and neighborhood meetings have really paid good benefits. So thank you and your staff for doing those. Also, I'd like to thank Matt for covering us on the Owatonna People's Press. I know he is going to be relocating back to Montana, and I'm not sure what the date is, but thank you for covering the Owatonna in City Council meeting. And Chris, negotiations is never an easy process, so thank you for getting the fire department done.
Thank you.
Thank you. And we'll go to Chris now.
Just a reminder, we are having our strategic planning session, our annual one, coming up on January 28th from 4 to 8. We're going to be meeting at the Gainey Center, or Gainey Center, the Gainey Room, 3rd floor of the library. And then on the 29th, we'll be meeting over at the OPU from 2 to 5. So just as a reminder to everyone that we're going to get together and do some visioning and planning for the community.
What hours was the 28th?
28th is 4 to 8 p.m.
8.
And then the 29th is 2 to 5.
Okay, very good. Thank you. And I have nothing to add to that. Look forward to seeing you all at the grand opening of the Quick Trip North. So with that, Chair will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
We have a motion by Kevin Rainey to adjourn. Do you have a second?
Second.
Second by Greg Schultz. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting adjourned.